And welcome back. Time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, the State House of Representatives has advanced to the Senate several criminal justice reform initiatives. Give us an assessment of the status of the corrections reform in Oklahoma right now.
Speaker Hickman spoke vigorously in support of this cluster of a half dozen measures, including those that would address both the front end and the back end of the criminal justice process. You know, at the front end, and when people go in, there's a lot of people we're still imprisoning, still incarcerating, who have engaged in nonviolent offenses, and that's a subject of long discussion. And then when they come out, recent reporting by Scott Carter at Oklahoma Watch has kind of set the table with some of the fines and levies that people coming out face, which are just, you know, add to the burdens even for those inclined to go straight, as it were. So what's interesting about this to me, these are all good proposals, I think, and they all play off of the same theme, which is the legislation that was passed in 2012 and never implemented, and that's the Justice Reinvestment Initiative. It's interesting to me that the push for what Governor Fallin prefers to call smart on crime approaches is really, it's the same issues as were discussed before. The framework was established by the legislation passed by former Speaker Chris Steele's leadership, and that's the framework to play within. And what I'm frustrated about is that we're 2.5 years into this and haven't had implementation, including in the 2 years that were comparatively good budget years before this. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm happy to say that the Oklahoma Conference of Churches is having a conference that will begin at the Capitol on Monday, the March 23rd, and then shift to St. Paul's Cathedral downtown, where there'll be substantive discussion from a reformist and somewhat liberal perspective, but there'll be conservatives there as well, including Speaker Steele. And Drew Edmondson will be speaking at the wrap-up. So that's going to be a good event that will delve in even more critically than has been done in some prior sessions to the problems and challenges facing us. But I'm glad to see some forward movement, albeit a bit delayed.
Right. All right, now there have been several interesting developments in education policy in the last couple of weeks. Sketch those out for us quickly.
Well, we talked previously about the demise of the education savings accounts, which I lamented that demise for this cycle, this session, I should say, because a good chance that it'll be back next year and hopefully have a better chance of enactment. Right now, there's competing proposals to cut taxes for teachers, which I find intriguing. Now, the problem is, you know, like any other incentive or exemption, this will create some tight budgets, if you will. The Republicans want to do it for all teachers, and I commend that idea, public and private, including, in the case of public schools, charters. There's a competing proposal from some of the Democrats, although some Democrats are choice supporters, that would limit the thing only to traditional public school teachers and would exclude both charters and private schools. I don't understand why they'd want to do that, but it's an interesting idea. It's a thought.
All right, we'll be following that, and you can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.